You are listening to the Atlanta Real Estate Forum radio show, all about real estate edition, shining a light on the movers and shakers in the real estate industry, the home builders, developers, realtors, and suppliers making it all happen. And now, here are today's hosts.
Good morning and welcome back to the All About Real Estate edition. I am your host, Todd Schnick, joined by my co-host and friend, Carol Morgan. Before we kick things off, we do want to continue to thank New American Funding for being our 2021 show sponsor, our 10th year on the air. 2020 was great, and so far we're off and running in 2021 with them as our partner. All right, Carol Morgan, returning guest to the show, really good dude doing some important work. Speaking of New American Funding, I always enjoy our chat with this fellow.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun and lively talk today. We are joined in studio by Jose Plascencia, and he is the Marietta Branch Manager for New American Funding. So welcome, Jose.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Carol and Todd. Happy New Year. Last time I spoke with you guys was 2020. So Happy New Year and happy to be here.
Happy
Dark
New
times
Year.
the last time we chatted. We were deep in the throes of the pandemic, and we were seeing light at the end of the tunnel now, methinks. So off and running. Two things, Jose. By now, our audience is obviously very familiar with New American Funding, but for the sake of our audience who did not meet you the last time, take a few minutes and remind them a bit about you, your background, and then an overall mission and purpose of New American Funding.
Absolutely. So my name is Jose Plascencia. I'm the branch manager out of the Marietta branch. Been with the company going on 3 years now. Started with them in 2019, so going on 3 years. And then pretty much like our mission statement is to provide sustainable homeownership for everyone. And when I mean everyone, I'm talking about the underserved groups, everyone across the board. And when I mean sustainable home ownership, it's like we're not going to loan shark you into a loan set you up for failure. We're going to make sure that we put you in the right product that fits your needs and sets you up for success and hurdle free throughout the life of the loan.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I love New American Funding's mission, and just love the fact that you focus on that underserved market. So to that end, tell us about your success in 2020 and specifically related to New American Funding's local Latino efforts.
Yeah, and thank you for bringing that up, Carol. So good news is, so we already know we're out of the Marietta branch, and we are currently working on our expansion towards the Cartersville area. I'm super excited about that. That's an area that's growing by the day a ton. I drive there from time to time and just take a look, and I know it's fresh pickings. It's a good market to be in. So we're currently looking for a space. We're working behind the scenes and working on that. I'm excited. Once we open up shop over there, it's going to be another great resource, to pretty much, double our radar on the map. And, I have at the office, I have a huge map that breaks down county by county. And I'm always putting those red polka dots on each side, making sure, okay, check and close. We need to go there. We need to go here. And it's a perfect fit at a perfect time. So That's when it comes to the expansion successes. So around mid-December, I got invited, or I got nominated to be part of the Latino-focused leadership group out of corporate New American Funding. That is huge because pretty much throughout the whole company, and NAF is a huge company, we're talking over 3,000 employees. Out of the whole company, it's a group of 5 that run this leadership group. And I'll be one of those 5. So
congratulations.
Thank you so much, Carol. And I'm super happy and humbled to be representing the Southeast region and pretty much the South when it comes to that, because I looked at the other roster. You got 2 from out west, you got 1 from Texas, and I believe you got 1 from Colorado. So, yeah, I'm super happy you're representing us here in Marietta.
Well,
Jose, in general.
So just to echo what Carol said, congratulations on that appointment. That speaks volumes to, and both of us were enormously impressed by you and your focus on that when we last chatted with you on the show. It speaks a lot to the company that they recognize that, because, where I want you to go next is put some meat on the bone with your efforts, because a lot of organizations are out there and they slap it up on their brochure that they reach out and they care for everyone and they serve the underserved and all that, but you guys actually do it. And we've focused and showcased others on this show of your company, showcasing and reaching out to other underserved groups. So it's clear to us and clear to everyone that this is legit from New American Funding. So talk more about how you actually do it. I mean, it's not just words on a resume. It's you guys actually go out there and really do this. Talk about how you do that.
Absolutely, Todd. And this is a strategy that I've been doing for years now, and it works. It's one of those where, like, obviously, we know people only do business with people they trust. No one likes to be sold, or as they say, thrown up on, like, hey, I'm Jose. Let me tell you about our mortgages. We offer FHA loans. Nobody likes that. People got to be open with it, got to feel comfortable with you in order to do business with you. So one of the strategies I do is it's one of those where, like, if it's a referral partner or someone in the circle that, we know we could do business with, it's rare for me to say, hey, send me loans on day one or right when I meet you. It's one of those where, like, I get them to feel comfortable to the point that obviously they like you and they trust you, they give you a shot. Same with clients. It's one of those where, like, I tell them, I would never ask anyone on my team to do something I wouldn't do.
Right.
So it's one of those things where, like, I'll have clients that are super grateful. We're talking, first-time home buyers and families that, they immigrated here and they got everything in order and they finally purchased their first home, whether their kids are barely starting kindergarten or their kids are in high school. The point is they found that home. And it's one of those where we'll share cultural differences or similarities. And it's one of those where they're like, hey, Jose, like, I'm going to sign this settlement package under one condition. What's that? You have to come to our first housewarming party. You have to come to our first barbecue. You have to come to whatever. Or I'm going to make you my favorite, pastry that I make for my family, whatever you want to call it. And it's one of those where it's like, yeah, absolutely. Like, that means a lot because you're like, okay, they're truly grateful, and it's like, there was a family I closed in Mapleton. I closed them, I believe it was September, October. I forgot when, but it was, like Q3. And they pretty much called me around like a week before Thanksgiving. And they're like, hey, it'll mean a lot to us if you show up. We redid the floor, did this, all that good stuff if you show up. And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Just let me know what time, date and time. And I showed up. And it was one of those like backyard parties where like, they're like, it was fun. It's one of those things where it's like, all right, cool. Like, nothing that's too like uppity, formal stuff like that. It's just, you fit right in. And out of that, I probably had like 3 or 4 of their relatives call me. And they're just like, okay, this Jose. Oh, wow. Okay, cool. Thank you for what you did.
Well,
and
talk about a move
about
a move that builds trust. I mean,
right.
Exactly.
That's more than just talk.
Well, they didn't even have to give you a referral. The referral was inviting you to the family event.
Exactly.
So just being there was a referral. And I think that speaks to how you treat your customers. You treat them like family.
Exactly.
And I think the same is true for your team. Let's take a little bit of a deeper dive into your team. Does your whole team speak Spanish? And how many people are on your team? And with you opening Cartersville, is there room for growth?
Absolutely. There is always room for growth. There's one LO that's fully bilingual that he's going to start in February. So we're kind of in the process of getting him onboarded and all that good stuff. And aside from that, our whole team is fully bilingual, fully bilingual. That's one of those good things. It's a strength because it's like, if I'm not there, if I have to step out or I got to do something. And some of our clients they're more old school. They're like, I'm not going to give you my social over the phone. I don't feel comfortable entering, this online. I just don't. Well, it's cool. We understand, come to Marietta and pretty soon, hey, now you have your options. Come to Marietta and or Cartersville, whatever you prefer, drop them off. And we will have someone, like fully bilingual that will be able to cater to them. So yeah, that's a great question. And yeah, there's pretty much it's transparent across the board when it comes to serving that market.
Ready to take the next step in becoming a homeowner? New American Funding can make it happen. New American Funding is a nationally recognized direct lender for residential home loans. Real estate agents and builders love New American Funding because of their in-house processing, 14 business day close guarantee, and the servicing of their loans. They will work tirelessly to help you achieve homeownership, backed by thousands of 5-star reviews from their customers and with convenient branch locations. More and more residents trust them to close their loans on time. Call New American Funding at 678-898-3540 to start your home buying journey today.
Well, I know we've said this before. Now that we've been partnering with you guys for, I guess, 13 months, it's one thing to get a Jose Plascencia on your team and task him with the job, but it's another thing to completely empower you, to enable you to just and arm you and have you say, here's what I need to actually fulfill this, and how the entire team just seems to be empowered by leadership at New American Funding is just speaks volumes for again, this is not just talk. We this is action. And so it's really impressive. So I know Carol and I have beaten that a lot on this show, but it continues to wow us about how you guys are empowered to actually get out there and really make change happen. So, speaking more towards that target market, talk more about how you work with different types of work permits and different visas and all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah. So people get discouraged when it comes to like the work permits because a lot of times they think, hey, I have to be a citizen, or a resident, one or the other, in order to get a home loan. That is not the case. Like pretty much the work permit, your work visa, there are different types. You have different categories. And pretty much that means that like when someone has a work permit, pretty much means they're in process. They're like 80% done, possibly even 90% done to getting their permanent resident card. And then eventually to citizenship. That's the goal. So a lot of times they think, no, it doesn't work, it doesn't qualify. But no, these are doable files with those people that have the work permits. Unfortunately, some lenders don't work with those permits either, or maybe they just don't think they do and they don't ask their higher ups to see if it can be done. Because there will be loans that fall into my lap where they're just like, hey, yeah, I don't know what happened. What do you mean? Oh, like they just told me the day before closing I can't do it. Why? Not really sure. And I'm like, okay, you know what? Let me give the other lender a call. And it's hit or miss. Sometimes the other lender goes ghost on you and okay, you got to start from scratch. But sometimes they pick up the phone. They're like, hey, and you're like, hey, so what exactly happened? I'm just trying to see if I could carry it to the finish line or if it is what it is. We just got to turn it down. No, dude, it's a good file. We just don't do those permits. Okay, that's that it. Yeah. Okay.
Their loss, your gain.
Exactly. And I'll take a look at the file and it's like, and we're talking an 810 credit score, 6 figures on W-2, literally like a $300 car payment and a $25 a month Capital One credit card, like A+ paper. And I'm like, wow, because the work permit, check and close. So yeah, it's one of those where like, thankfully, because of my timeline, I'm familiar with these work permits. Like it wasn't always like that. Like at first I'm like, what is this in myself? But you learn along the way. So it's at the point where it's like, hey, like the realtors or even builders will call me and say, Jose, do you work with this permit? Do you take work permits? That's what they say. And before I even say yes or no, I will say, yeah, what's the category? Do you have the client in front of you? Send me a picture of the work permit or just read me the category, whether it's COA, C10, C33, C14. Each one's category is different. Like C33, for example, that's a DACA. You got CO8, where pretty much that's like a political refugee. Most of those come from Venezuela because right now everything's over there is messed up. So a lot of them are fleeing and coming over here. So there's just little things here and there. Like, and in some of them, the reason why I ask those questions because some of these work permits, they're FHA only. Some of them are conventional only. Some of them are both. It doesn't matter, but it's good to know. So we know we're a step ahead of the game when it comes to doing our job and qualifying the right way.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned 800 credit score and you gave us some really good examples. But on the other end of the spectrum is that 580 credit score. Can you work with that person? How does that look?
Absolutely. And thank you for bringing that up because, last year in 2020 was one of those, hourglasses shifted overnight where different lenders, including us, were forced to raise up their standards. On average, those standards are still raised. Most lenders are saying nothing less than a 640, nothing less than a 620. In some cases, we go down to a 580. And that's one of those words. There's no hidden surprises. There's no gimmicks. It's a standard FHA loan. Granted, hey, it's a 580 score. Your loan, your case profile is more riskier. Your rate might be a little higher, but I'm not talking about a lot higher. I'm talking maybe a quarter point higher. We might have to charge half a point of discount or a full point of discount on your file. But hey, we're forced to do that because your file has priced more aggressively because it's more riskier. And even then, like when we're talking about rates, we are seeing the lowest rates in history right now. Like people you know what I mean? Like that's what I tell everybody. I'm like, guys, like you could Google Fannie Mae historical rate chart. And and I tell the clients to do this, I'm like, go ahead, Google Fannie Mae historical rate chart. And Fannie Mae has a cool little tool, like a chart that goes back to the 70s. Like it tells you like, oh, like in 1985, I closed on my home, but I had 18%. I had a 17% or a 20%, whatever it was, a 10%. And those rates were normal at that time. And people complaining about like, oh, you're giving me a 3.2. That's a little steep, don't you think? And it's one of those where like, nah, dude, we got it made in this little bucket. We got to ride the wave while it lasts because they're super low right now.
They just don't know. Yeah, these are historically low. You could go back years and years and years and years and years. And I think the average is, maybe 4 to 8% somewhere in there is what's been on average for the last, 100 years or whatever it's been.
No, exactly.
These 3% and 2% and 4%, they're great. It's like free money.
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, it just
pretty much is.
What this also tells me, though, I mean, if you're sitting there and you want to get into a home and you think you're precluded because you have problems on your file and all that, I mean, don't prejudge that. I mean, you just got to call Jose and lay it out there, and you're going to be honest with them. And as you said, no gimmicks. You're going to tell them straight what the story is, and so chances are, you're going to work with them. You're going to coach them through on what they need to do. And it's not just whether they check off a few boxes, and if not, they're gone. That's another thing I love about you guys is that you'll work with anyone and counsel them and coach them and help them through the process. As we say a lot, it's always impressive to hear what you guys are doing and how you serve your customers. Amazing, amazing stuff. Hey, we're about out of time, but real quickly, Jose, what are you most looking forward to the balance of 2021?
Oh my God, I am looking for breaking new records. And, it's one of those where 2020 was amazing, but I just can't wait, like for this year. It's like one of those things you could feel it, like we're blessed on the real estate sector right now. So it's like, it's one of those where like the train is going and it's full of coal. It's not going to stop. It's fully loaded. Like we're going to keep going. And I'm excited about this year. I'm looking forward to, breaking new records. I'm looking forward to new avenues, and I'm looking forward to the leadership group that they nominated me for. That's pretty cool. So It's good stuff. It's really good stuff.
Well, congratulations again on the leadership group. And I am a Cartersville resident. So when you guys get all settled up here and the COVID's a little bit more gone, let me know because I'd love to stop by your new office and say hi.
Will do, Carol. And thank you so much for the mouse pad.
You're very welcome. It's pretty cool, huh?
Mm-hmm. All right, Jose, before we let you go, should anyone need to connect with you and learn more about New American Funding, where do they go?
Absolutely. So always follow us on Facebook, New American Funding Marietta. Once again, that's New American Funding Marietta. Feel free to reach out to me on my cell phone, 770-630-1801. Once again, that's 770-630-1801. Or if you have a prospect that needs to see if they're able to qualify, always go on my website, mortgageaceloans.com. Once again, that's mortgageaceloans.com.
All right. Jose Plascencia, Marietta Branch Manager with New American Funding. As always, Jose, great to have you. Thanks for stopping by again and joining us.
Thank you both, as always.
All right. That wraps this week's All About Real Estate edition. On behalf of our show sponsor, New American Funding, my co-host, Carol Morgan, I am Todd Schnick. That's all the time that we have for today. Thank you for tuning in and listening, and we'll look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. We'll see you then.
Atlanta Real Estate Forum Radio is made possible by Denim Marketing, the publisher of Atlanta Real Estate Forum, Atlanta's favorite source for real estate and home building news. Denim Marketing is a comfortable fit, like your favorite pair of jeans. Denim Marketing tailors marketing strategies to meet your specific needs and niche. Try them on for size. They will work to create a perfect fit for your company's marketing program. Call them at 770-383-3360 or send an email to info@denimmarketing.com. For more information on Atlanta Real Estate Forum Radio or to inquire about being a guest, contact info@atlantarealestateforum.com. Check out the radio show by visiting atlantarealestateforum.com or by listening to the show on your favorite podcast app. And if you enjoyed today's broadcast, we'd sure appreciate a rating and review on iTunes. Thank you again for listening, and we'll see you next time on Atlanta Real Estate Forum Radio.